you spend in building the company.
You were doing that on the campus?
No. We had an office in Thane, so I used to commute. So chose very early morning slots, chose subjects which had early morning slots, and then finished those credits that way. But something really beautiful happened is that 1.5 years down the line, you are supposed to choose a project. So then we met Professor Rohit Srivastava, and I went to him and I told him, sir, I don't want to do a project, I want to do a product. So this is a product that I'm working on. So he said that if you're already working on this, I can't support this. So I said, okay, but I'll do another project under you. The only thing is we look at it from a product perspective. So that was a lab which was really good in getting publications till then, but no real translatory work which had happened. So sir said, okay, let's get a product. You tell me what you want to build. So, and what do you want? So we told him that microalbumin to creatinine ratio, early stage diabetic nephropathy is something which is a big missing link in India. We want to build a product for that. And so sir said, what do you need? So I said, I don't want to come to IIT often. I want to come to IIT once a month. We'll meet. I'll give you a project update. And we'll also raise money for this. Biosynth can be commercial partners for your lab. We'll raise money for this from DST and we'll take this product to market. And that was essentially the birth of the second product, UCheck.
Want to show them the product now?
Sure.
That might be the So, Biosynth's first product was a non-invasive anemia screening device, which was the first issue you worked on. Want to describe that quickly?
Sure. Actually, in much detail, that is probably the project which taught us the most. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
So we started working on the technology, and
maybe just for context, give people a little flavor for what happens typically to the traditional way of testing for anemia and what's
Sure. So the traditional way of testing for anemia, the gold standard is taking a blood draw from the hand and giving it to a lab. There are other screening methods available. Some of them use a fingerprint and a small cuvette-like thing, or what is most common in India is called the Sally's method. So you take a drop of blood, you put in some acid, and you dilute it and you match colors. It's very crude, but that is what is used in India most of the time. The problem is that you need to screen a lot of people. So actually 54% of the population is anemic, but around 9 to 10% is severely anemic. That is the population that you want to grab. The rest of the population you can just prescribe iron and folic acid to everybody, it doesn't matter. But those 9-10% is the one that you want to grab, so that when, especially in females, when they are pregnant, you can refer them to a higher center, so that if there is any bleeding during birth, you have blood, you have OBGY at call. That is the fundamental issue. The problem is anemia has no symptoms. So nobody at the village level allows you to test for blood. You can do whatever you want. You can test clinically, you can give medicines, you can't take blood. So the idea was to build a non-invasive anemia screening tool, which would be acceptable culturally, where you can screen large masses of people at one time in a very cost-efficient manner. That is essentially the context for TouchPay. And
how did you go about developing
So
solve this problem?
Right. So I think we started working on a technology platform called the photoplethysmography platform. So there's already a device called pulse oximeters. Some of you might be aware. They used to measure oxygen saturation in blood. So they actually measure. We take a ratio of two different kinds of hemoglobin. So our rationale was if we take a ratio effectively, absolute करने में कितना problem होगा? You just convert the ratio into an absolute, and that was the rationale behind starting pursuing that particular technology platform. And we spent 3 years. Multiple prototypes, multiple clinical trials, and we couldn't. we just couldn't get the accuracy that we wanted. And I remember this conversation with Gans about 2.5 years back, maybe. And I was telling Gans, I've hit a technical brick wall. It's not working, and I don't know how to make it work. I think we committed the cardinal mistake of falling in love with the technology. And this I haven't told you, but maybe we spent the last 2.5 years on a completely different technology platform, and we reached that accuracy that we wanted. But looking back, I think we committed the cardinal mistake of not looking at alternate technology platforms while building a product. I think if you are clear about the problem, you should be agnostic about the solution. You shouldn't fall in love with the solution. There could be n number of ways to get that solution.
You spend a little bit of time, because I'm sure that will be very useful to anybody who's starting a venture. Looking back, do you see there were warning signs that you ignored?
Absolutely.
What are some of those signs?
The first sign is as an entrepreneur, I think we were having this conversation earlier in the day. You're supposed to be the thinker, you're supposed to be the doer, and you're supposed to be the son of the bitch. So you have to get the job done, and it's very difficult. You have to zoom out, see the large picture. Even if you're just developing a technology, what are the possible technical architectures out there? To zooming in to the level where you start talking about resistors and tolerances. You need both. And initially you're the person, or you have a very small team which is doing both. You can't afford to just do the strategic thinking and leave the execution for somebody else. There's nobody else to do the execution. So either you think and don't do, which is the worst, or you do and don't think, which is bad, but it's still better than thinking and not doing. I think the first warning sign was that we never had a session where we discussed alternate technology platforms, alternate solutions, alternate ways of looking at the same problem. Non-invasive anemia screening, how many ways can we look at it? We never did that.
There's a fine line between obduracy and perseverance,
Yeah.
So, when are you being hard-headed and bull-headed and banging your head against the wall? And when are you banging against something that's going to break, but you just need to bang enough? It's a very, very difficult call when you're in it, when you're doing it.
Absolutely. I think those calls have to be made. Some calls will be right, some calls will be wrong. The warning sign is not that you're breaking your head against the wall. The warning sign is that you're not thinking about what other walls you can bang your head on, which might break faster than this. Maybe there are no other walls, and you'll continue to bang your head for 10 years and eventually you'll break it. But is there a wall that you can break in 2 years? Having that conversation, not having that conversation is probably the biggest mistake that we did. We had that conversation eventually, but if we had that earlier, we would have saved maybe 2-3 years of our time.
If you were to think back and do this again, is there a process that you would have put in place that maybe some of these entrepreneurs could, that hey, we have a checkpoint, if we don't reach this by this date, then we're going to start looking for alternatives? Do you think something like that might have worked?
Absolutely. The problem is when you're developing a technology, you are passionate about the technology. You put in everything, and it's kind of a very fine line. It's a very fine line to get a team which is completely focused on something, and you say that let's step back and then look at something else. But I think that's where a technical mentor comes in and challenges you and asks you, actually puts in more, why can't you reach your destination in X, Y, and Z? If you're looking at X, what's the problem with Y and Z? I think one is have a technical mentor if you're a product company, and of course have a flag. If you don't reach that by that flag, look for alternatives.
Well, what was the, so you found your co-founders, a lot of you are equals. What is the dynamic of the team? Do you think teams where everyone's equal work?
It was always flat till very recently, where we started putting in some hierarchy. But I think if you have a team of 5 people, there's no reason why you need a hierarchy. Because there are 5 people who... Now the worst thing would be to get people who think like you. So you have to be, I think